Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio.
Welcome to First Contact Radio.
To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Well, top of the morning to you, Earthlings. Welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Glad you could be here. Today is the 17th of March, 2015. That makes it St. Patrick's Day. So I hope you're having a good day today. Hope you got your green on. Whether you're Irish or not, hey, have some fun with it. We need to have fun down here on Earth. Can't take everything so serious. So let's have a little fun today with St. Patty's Day as we go about into the world. All right, right here, the 17th of March, 2015. So what do we got here? Just like yesterday, we have a sun sign in Pisces, and we have a moon sign in Aquarius. So we have water for the conscious mind, and we have air for the unconscious mind. Water and air. So what do we know about these elements? Because it's all about energies, and it's all about looking at the basic elements. Fire, water, air, earth. So air moves. Water flows. Water can stay still. Water can drip. We've seen air and water working together in our world. They can work really nicely. You have a nice wind blowing over the stream, over the water. It moves boats along, or you can have these real heavy hurricanes and the wind gets, crazy, and then the water starts flying all over the place. All kind of things can happen. When we break it down to their elements, water is emotions, air is words and actions. So underneath, we have Aquarius, the air. So we have these words and actions underneath our unconscious mind, which are reaching our conscious mind, reaching our emotional world. Okay, so how are we going to play this out? How are the words and actions that are coming from up underneath us, how are they going to affect the emotions of the conscious mind that we're dealing with? That's for us to decide. We all have ways that we deal with these energies, and every day we're learning more and more to deal with energies. Why? Because we have no other choice. We're living in a world of energies all around us. We need to deal with them, adapt to them. So that's what we're working with today, right? So we have these aspects. As we can see, a majority of the aspects have already taken place. Well, most of them. We had the aspect between Jupiter and Aquarius at 3:13 a.m. Venus entered Taurus at 5:15 a.m. And at 6:23 we had a sextile between Uranus and Aquarius. So all these things have come to pass so far. Unexpected changes, dealing with the Aquarius, those wind energies. We've had the teeter-totter here, where one side you got the Aquarius, the other side Jupiter, which is expanding. So our realm is expanding of where this air can move and blow. We've got Venus, imagination, working with Taurus. These two work really well together because they're, well, Venus and Taurus go together. And the rest of the day is going to be kind of just dealing out and hanging with those energies until we get to this evening when Aquarius is going to be sextile with Mars. So Mars brings energy, aggression. This is at 1:18 p.m. So the afternoon could be a bit intense, or it can be kind of calm and creative or passionate. Just depends on how we're going to use these energies as they affect us. And then this little VC here means void of course. That means after this period of time, the moon sign leaves the last phase of Aquarius here, getting ready to move on to the next sign, but it's not there. It's just going to keep going until tomorrow at 5:58 a.m. Pacific time, when it will enter Pisces, and then we'll have a Pisces sun and a Pisces moon, and that's preparing us to go into the next phase where we will actually be dealing with the moon right here, the sun going into Aquarius. So we're about ready to go into this next phase. All right, we also have a solar eclipse coming up. Just a little preview of that. I'm going to be talking about that more over the next couple days in preparation for the eclipse. Okay, so you got this. This is what's going on. Tarot cards associated. We've got the tarot card of the star with Aquarius, and Pisces is the moon. Got the wheel here so we can take a look and see at the grid or the circle. That way you can look at all the various transits. All right, on the Jewish calendar, today is 26 Adar. 26 Adar, year 5775. The daily thought is confusing body and soul. So you've come to a realization that you're not the stuff you made yourself out to be. In fact, you're a mess. Everything about you needs to be fixed. But that's not you. That is the outer you. The inner you is a pure soul, and the soul is now celebrating. Why? Because now the beast within, which was thrust, has finally realized that a dark pit it's gotten itself into, and now there's a chance that she can lead it back home. And every step the soul leads the beast back home, the soul is already there. Don't confuse the joy of the soul with the concerns of the body. The moon phase is a waning moon, 11% of the way there, making that way to the new moon. Space weather, solar wind, we're moving along pretty good here, 583.2 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is 6, means we're in a storm, as you can see here. This is an index that goes between 1 and 9. So halfway point between 1 and 9 is 4.5. That means we're well past the halfway point. We're getting close to that big energy, that the 9. So we're dealing with a lot of energy today. So as you're out and about in the world and you wonder, why am I feeling so much energy? Guess what? We're in the middle of a storm. How are you going to be affected by it? I guess it depends on you, how you choose to handle and deal with the energies that you're dealt, that we're all dealt. And then to notice that we are going to get some wind coming off of these coronal holes over the course of the weekend as we move into the beginning of springtime. Big coronal hole on the bottom. It's opened up a little bit more since yesterday. This big gash here up at the top seems to be quite bigger as well. M-class flare possibility has dropped. It was 70% yesterday. Now we're going down to 60. And M-class flare or X-class has also dropped down to 10. Geomagnetic storm activity, mid-latitudes, we're at 35%, jumping up. And there's also an increase in the high latitudes. So while we're not going to be getting, while the numbers are dropping for possible flares, the chances of some sort of geomagnetic storm which leads to auroras, those go up. So have your camera ready. You never know what you might see when you look at the sky. And here's definitely what you're going to see when you look at the sky here tonight. So Jupiter this month forms a big, more or less equilateral triangle with Procyon and Pollux. Face southeast after dark, and Procyon is to Jupiter's lower right. Pollux is to Jupiter's upper right. Procyon is also part of a slightly larger winter triangle down to Procyon's lower right. The winter triangle, too, is equilateral. Its other stars are Orange, Betelgeuse in Orion, and bright Sirius below. So, all of those things make up our cosmic weather. Again, just a refresher, what is this cosmic weather? Well, we are living on this Earth that is part of the cosmos. There's energy all around us, and the energy that we feel is a byproduct of many different things, some of which are movements of the planets and the stars and the sun and the moon. So we take all of those things together and we look at them. That is what astrology is about. Astrology is not about giving up your power to anything. I know a lot of times people have an issue with astrology saying, oh no, I can't look at that because I give up my power to it. The question I ask is, why would you do that? Why would you give your power up to something that is nothing more than a science report, a weather report? It's nonsense. Just like tarot. You don't give your energy up to tarot. You don't give your power over to tarot. They're just a book of esoteric symbols to show you how to read some of the energy that's out there. And that's the way it is with all these esoteric sciences. So we want to look at the cosmic weather. We want to look at the energies around us each and every day, because we live in this sea of energy. And if we know what the energies are, we can be a little bit more effective. Every little bit of information that we get to help us along the way will help us along the way. So it's very important that we kind of tune in to all of that. All right, that is our cosmic weather report. A little brief on what cosmic weather is. I'll be back. Let's get to our UFO news. It's up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alrighty, Dirk. Thank you very much. I am Joshua Poet, and this is my island. Get that little reference there to Braveheart. Remember that? The Irish guy. He was the Irish guy, wasn't he? When he says, it's my island. Great movie. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Alright, I don't get any money for telling you this other than... there's no other than I just don't get anything. I'm just telling you because it's a great movie. Okay. UFOs in the news. First one goes back to the 4th of March. 4th of March this year, and this UFO is over Gander, Newfoundland, March 4th. Object in question right there. Right there. No, this is not another UFO floating in the sky with a message. This isn't the Goodyear blimp or anything like this. This is just a graphic on the screen, just in case there's any confusion. New interesting photos of a glowing UFO sighting recorded while hovering over Gander, Newfoundland, March 4th. All right, that's about the extent of what we have here. Okay, so I'm going to leave that link to you, firstcontactradio.com. We're going to move on to the next sighting, which is huge black UFO filmed over Enschede, Netherlands. Oh, look at that one. That's a good size looking object. This interesting footage of a black solid object hovering in the sky above Enschede, a city in the eastern Netherlands, the province of Overijssel. This was filmed on the 11th of June 2014. All right, well, a little older video. The question is, why are they saying that this was sooner or not too long ago? I don't know, but anyway. All right, there we go. I guess we're getting there. All right, here we go. We're getting there. Let's just get to the UFO, and there it is. Pretty good size object. It's about to block out the moon. Or as some think, the big ball of cheese in the sky, or perhaps the hologram in the sky. A lot of different theories on what the moon is and isn't. Alright, moving on. Bright craft over San Antonio, Texas. Here's a new video. 2 lights in the sky above San Antonio, March 13th. The witness says, as I was sky watching, I noticed this low glowing light above some trees. No FAA navigational lights were visible, so I quickly grabbed my camera for a closer look. When zooming in, you can clearly see it was no airplane. It was a UFO craft. At first, it appeared to hover over the area. I decided to pan back using the tree tops and a street light as a reference points. You can clearly see a UFO craft travel above some treetops, giving us the altitude it was. This was an awesome sighting due to how low it was. At some point, it began to pick up speed until it was gone and out of view. At some point, it began to pick out of view. In my opinion, the craft was clearly no aircraft or satellite. All right, so let's see what we have here. 6-minute, 56-second video comes to us from UFOs over San Antonio, Texas, or SAUFOTX. All right, let's jump ahead, see what we've got here. If the video decides to play, there we go. All right, there's our object in question. Very interesting. We've seen these. It's not the first, and it won't be the last. All right, the next story here. This was a green UFO or a fireball crashing to Earth caught on the Dashcam in Switzerland. This video was recorded on the Dashcam of a UFO fireball breaking up over Switzerland. Apparently, there were multiple reports of loud detonation boom. Speculation runs the gamut from a meteorite to a genuine UFO. Here's your opportunity to see it if you already haven't. There it is. Look at that. Okay. We've seen this time before, haven't we? We certainly have. If we go down over the links, firstcontactradio.com, you will most certainly find other images that look like this. And I'm moving on. Retired policeman recalls the day multiple police witnesses a very low altitude UFO. Says as soon as I looked up and saw it, my jaw dropped, wondering what this was. Came out of the sky and landed just a little south of Moline. All right, Barney Fife, let's hear what you saw. Bill Fisher still vividly remembers the strange, bright silver object that appeared to be hovering over the Mississippi River on that afternoon of March 9th, 1967. Mr. Fisher, then a Moline police officer, had just parked his three-wheel patrol motorcycle on 16th Avenue across the Sacred Heart School, where his son, William Jr., was a student. Others saw the object too, including neighbors, several students, and a couple of nuns. Mr. Fisher retrieved an 8mm movie camera from his police trike and got some footage. It had moved away by then, and what was caught on film is a little indistinct. But those 2 minutes of footage helped make Mr. Fisher a star witness in the U.S. Air Force investigation of several UFO sightings reported from Moline to Galesburg over a few days in 1967. Two investigating USAF captains arrived the very next day. The Air Force asked, "How high up was it, Mr. Fisher?" "I don't know." "Well, how big do you think it was?" "Well, I think it was as big as a boxcar." So that gave them a little perspective. From where I was standing, looking that way, which was north, I thought it had been over the arsenal. Of course, I was naturally suspicious somebody was spying on our government. In an unusual episode in a very well-respected 30-year career as one of Moline's finest, Mr. Fisher also found himself sought out by a variety of ufologists, from prominent Northwestern University astronomer J. Allen Hynek to a mysterious trio dressed in black who confronted him at the police station. He and his film were written up in the UFO magazines and supermarket tabloids. Mr. Fisher was also interviewed for a 1972 book co-edited by astronomer Carl Sagan called UFOs, a Scientific Debate. Last Tuesday, Mr. Fisher celebrated his 80th birthday. Well, happy birthday to you, Mr. Fisher. A surprise party at the East End Boulders Club in Moline, including a bagpipe serenade for the other Grand Marshal of the St. Patrick's Society Grand Parade. All right, there's a lot more to this article. I'm going to leave that to you. I'm going to move on to the next story here. Here we have ET disclosure, goes back to 1913. So which would you prefer? Disclosure about extraterrestrial presence on planet Earth by our own government, or disclosure from extraterrestrials themselves? You have your answer yet? Well, the thing is, whilst our governments are at the moment steadfastly refusing to disclose any evidence that they have regarding extraterrestrials, the extraterrestrials themselves have already presented us with an awe-inspiring proof of their presence in the solar system and skies. This evidence was shown to us in the most spectacular fashion on the night of February 9th, 1913. Now, a sketch above, you got a link to a PDF. From PDF page 35, drawn by a witness to the Great Canadian Meteor Procession of 1913, mightn't have looked at all that spectacular. It is, after all, only composed of pencil lines drawn on paper. But if you compare it to the image below, an event that occurred a century later in February 2013, you will get a much better understanding of what was seen in the skies of Canada and across the world on that eventful night. Okay, there's our image there. Let me just get to the image here. Oh, got to go to that link there to find that. I'll give it a shot. I'm clicking on the link. See where it takes us. We're going down the rabbit hole. All right. That's a big case right there. There's the one image. Hey, look. Kind of has something similar, doesn't it? All right. Links available. firstcontactradio.com. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Moving right along to our next story here. All right, this really isn't necessarily a UFO news, but it kind of is, because to those out there on other planets, Buzz Aldrin would be a alien. Matter of fact, any of us, if we left this Earth went elsewhere, would be considered aliens. Heck, we're even considered aliens when we go from one continent to the next down here. So it's just a cool tweet by Buzz Aldrin today at Stonehenge, March 17th. We got Buzz right there wearing his shirt. Get your ass to Mars. This is a real cool tweet from the man that walked on the moon himself, Buzz Aldrin. In his tweet, he included a photo of himself at Stonehenge exposing his chest to the showing off his foundation T-shirt with the bold letters, "Get your ass to Mars." At the age of 85, Buzz still has the cool all over him. All right, so there you go. There's Buzz Aldrin. I brought this up just because, you know what? I've got no issues with Buzz. Buzz, as he says, was a passenger on that journey. However, as you've heard, and as you've heard me speak over and over and over, I don't know that we went to the moon. I don't know what Buzz, if he's telling the truth or not. There's a lot of interesting information out there, perhaps indicating that we didn't go. Here's an article kind of connected with that. Neil Armstrong assassinated by Obama starwhackers. It says Neil Armstrong was actually killed by a doctor. He didn't die of a heart attack. He had his physical, and they said, "You're pretty strong for an 82-year-old, and you've got this little blockage in your artery. Why didn't you let us do a bypass before you have a heart attack?" And they did a bypass on him, and he died of a blood clot from the surgery. These doctors killed Neil Armstrong. They don't get an investigation. They don't get a urine test to see if they are drunk. They don't get a urine test to see if they were on drugs. We don't even know the doctor's name who killed Neil Armstrong. And this comes to us from Dr. Joel Wallach. Now, why would they kill Buzz Aldrin? Neil Armstrong. Well, perhaps because we didn't go to the moon. Perhaps he has this secret within him. He's left some really cryptic messages that, we don't know what's going on because of Truth's protective layer. You may recall that video. Anyway, certainly would be the kind of thing if you were one of a three-man crew and one of your astronaut buddies was taken out, you'd certainly keep yourself quiet, wouldn't you? Of course you would. Of course you would. And oh, look at this. There I am right there. There's Buzz Aldrin. Had an opportunity to meet him. Get this really cool picture with him. And there you have it. So check out that article. But I think the whole moon thing is fascinating. Did we really go? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that suggest we didn't go to the moon. Lots more questions. As a matter of fact, one of the most recent ones, for years, since the moon program's been going on and NASA's been doing their programs and their activities, the backpacks on their backs, air conditioning units they carried on their back to keep them cool. For 40-some years, air conditioning units. But all that changed because a water leak occurred recently. So suddenly, they no longer have been wearing air conditioning units. They've been wearing water-cooled outfits. So someone from NASA for 40-some years has been incorrect in telling us that they've been wearing these air conditioning units when in fact they're actually water-cooled. How is it that this person at NASA didn't know that? How does NASA not remember that? Because they think people aren't going to pay attention and think people, are too dumbed down to remember what's been told? But people who've been paying attention know. An air bubble, water bubble. Where did the water bubble come from? Oh, I know. Maybe the big swimming pool where they do their activities. I know. Hey, if you don't like the moon landing, discussion, and you think I'm out of line, doesn't matter, because I think this is a big bit of information, and I think that we need to know. As a matter of fact, just a point of reference, because I'm going to talk about the flat Earth theory more another day, and you've heard me mention it a number of times, but the flat Earth theory and the we never went to the moon theory, they fit together. All right? Well, we'll get to that another day. Here we have a show. It says, children the victim of aliens for a new ABC show. ABC is developing an alien drama to add to the network's lineup of shows. Few details have been released, but according to the Hollywood Reporter, this currently untitled drama is about a group of aliens out to destroy the Earth. But rather than outright assault on the planet, these hostile extraterrestrials will reportedly take a more passive approach. The Hollywood Reporter describes the show will be a race against the clock to defeat an unseen alien enemy out to destroy the world by using the Earth's most precious resource, children. As AV Club points out, there's no indication of why the children are such a precious resource, but the website goes on to speculate, though perhaps it's because their hands are small enough to complete repair work on alien ships, or maybe the alien race covets children like jewels. ABC is working Under the Dome, so Hugh, to develop the hour-long episode for the show. The new drama will join ABC's other shows, The Neighbors, a sitcom about a human family living in a community of extraterrestrials. So, extraterrestrials have been part of television programming for some time, and looks like it is going to continue. And one last piece, right here, and this again kind of fits in with the UFO space idea, but this is quite fascinating. Remember I just said a moment ago, there are those who have different theories on the moon? Well, this is one of these theories. Matter of fact, this video contains something that is not supposed to exist, which brings some weird questions. So this video contains some facts about the lunar wave. These things are not up for debate and have been corroborated by very smart people since 2012. Many are experts in the field, to include engineers, video engineers, and CCD chip designers. Basically, what you're going to see here, and this is by Crow777, who does some really great work on this topic and many others regarding the whole space phenomena. Let me just, there you go, Crow777, Zoe.
Okay, welcome to the Crow.
All right.
So,
let me just pull up where this is.
Here comes the
Okay.
wave footage that we've
Watch right here.
seen.
There's a wave that's coming up here. It's going to come in from the bottom, and you're going to be able to see this. All right. It'll be happening momentarily. Okay, here we go. Where's it at?
I'm going to go step by step through the things. It's the wave.
Okay.
The wave goes out of frame. The time frame.
Here we go. Let's see.
Wave remains a constant speed is when it starts. There it is. Starting. The camera pan goes above the wave and the wave catches up.
Okay, if you
This has always been
check this out, you see that. See it? All right. We got a nice little wave moving across the moon. Anyway, I'm going to leave this to you. You'll be able to see it much better when you're enlarging it. But this is not supposed to exist. And so what is this? Some say that this is an anomaly that kind of shows that there's something about our moon which is a bit different than what we believe it is. So is the moon real? If the moon isn't real, if the moon is a hologram, then we certainly didn't go to the moon, did we? If the moon is real, then there is the possibility we went, but then we've got the issue with the Van Allen radiation belt. And last year, during the Orion project, one of the NASA engineers, what did they say about the sending people to space? They said that in 2015, they still hadn't found a way to be able to move humans through the Van Allen radiation belt. In 2015, yet for some unknown reason, 40 some years earlier, in 1969, we were able to go through that biennial radiation belt without a problem. In this craft that we've all seen, looks like part of it was made out of tinfoil. I don't know. I have no explanation. I don't know why in 69 we're able to do this, and now, 2015, we're unable to do this. Might be because we've lost the telemetry and we've lost all the data about how we got there. I guess it wasn't very important information to keep, so no one really made sure that that information about going to the moon was really safe and protected, and somehow it all got lost. So, very bizarre. Anyway, that's our UFO news. Kind of rambled a little bit from UFO news here to space stories and so on and so forth. Anyway, that's the way it goes today. I'll be back momentarily. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
All right, continuing on. St. Patrick's Day today. Here's St. Patrick. A few facts as you go into the world there today, as you're drinking your green beer or whatever you're going to do today. St. Patrick of Ireland is one of the world's most popular saints. Apostle of Ireland, born in Kilpatrick near Dumbarton in Scotland in the year of 387, died at Saul Downpatrick, Ireland, March 17th, 461. Along with St. Nicholas and St. Valentine, the secular world shares our love of these saints. There is also a day when everyone's Irish. There are many legends and stories of St. Patrick, but this is the story. Patrick was born around 385 in Scotland, probably Kilpatrick. His parents were Calpurnius and Conchessa, who were Romans living in Britain in charge of the colonies. As a boy of 14 or so, he was captured during a raiding party and taken to Ireland as a slave to herd and tend sheep. Ireland at this time was a land of druids and pagans. He learned the language and practices of the people who held him. During his captivity, he turned to God in prayer, and he wrote, "The love of God and his fear grew in me more and more, as did the faith, and my soul was rose, so that in a single day I have said as many as 100 prayers, and in the night nearly the same. I prayed in the woods and on the mountain even before dawn. I felt no hurt from the snow or ice or the rain." Patrick's captivity lasted until he was 20, when he escaped after having a dream from God in which he was told to leave Ireland to go to the coast. There he found some sailors who took him back to Britain, where he reunited with his family. He had another dream in which the people of Ireland were calling him out, "We beg you, holy youth, to come walk among us once more." He began his studies for the priesthood, was ordained by the Saint Germanus, the bishop of Auxerre, who he had studied under for years. Later, Patrick was ordained a bishop and was sent to take gospel to Ireland. He arrived in Ireland in March 5th, 433 at Slane. One legend says that he met a chieftain of one of the tribes who tried to kill Patrick. Patrick converted Dichu, the chieftain, after he was unable to move his arm until he became friendly to Patrick. Patrick began preaching the gospel throughout Ireland, converting many. He and his disciples preached and converted thousands and began building churches all over the country. Kings, their families, and entire kingdoms converted to Christianity when hearing Patrick's message. Patrick had now had many disciples, among them Benigius, Auxilius, Isirmius, and Fiach, all later canonized as well. Patrick preached and converted all of Ireland for 40 years. He worked many miracles and wrote of his love for God in Confessions. After years of living in poverty, traveling, and enduring much suffering, he died March 17, 461. He died at Saul, where he had built the first church. Why a shamrock? Because Patrick used the shamrock to explain the Trinity, and he has been associated with him and the Irish ever since that time. In his footsteps, as Patrick was a humble, pious gentleman whose love and total devotion and trust in God should be a shining example to each of us. He feared nothing, not even death. So complete was his trust in God and of the importance of his mission. So there is a little bit about St. Patrick. You know, I think it's awesome that we have all of these different saints and their heroes that we can look up to, of all these people who have done wonderful things on this planet. I think we get caught up down here in titles and labels of religions, and they separate us and segregate us, and keep us apart, and none of that's right. We're all humans. We're all earthlings. Let me just take that back. We're all earthlings down here. I don't know that everybody's humans down here, but we're certainly all earthlings because we're here on this earth. And being here on this earth, the idea is for us to work together and get along with each other. But we don't always do that. We find ways to separate ourselves from each other because we're different religions and we're different colors and we have different thoughts and ideas and different amounts of money and on and on and on. When you really step back and think about it, it's quite insane the way in which we divide ourselves from really being a part of everything. And it seems like we go through phases where we start to come together and then we start to separate ourselves again. Now, there might be some benefit to separating ourselves or segregating ourselves from others, or maybe not. But it certainly seems that when we come together in community, things are much better. Now, I'm not talking about the community that comes with socialism or anything of this nature. I'm not talking about anything political. As a matter of fact, if it was up to me, I would take the whole political thing and I would just toss it in the trash, because none of it is worth anything. What's important is that the people learn to work together. All of us here on this earth need to work together. And we need to come together. Why? So that we can understand how we fix the problems that we're dealing with. As long as we live on a world that allows ourselves to be divided and conquered, we're going to have a world that is divided and conquered. Got to fix that. We need to fix that. All right, I'm going to move on here. I want to bring up this next text from the Nag Hammadi. I want to read this. This is called The Gospel of the Egyptians. The holy book of the Egyptians, about the great invisible spirit, the Father whose name cannot be uttered, he who came forth from the heights of the perfection of the light and of the light of the eons, the light of the silence of the providence, and the Father of the silence, the light of the word and of the truth, the light of the incorruptions, the infinite light, the radiance from the aeons of light of the unrevealable, unmarked, ageless, unproclaimable Father, the aeon of the aeons, autogens, self-begotten, self-proclaiming, alien, the really true aeon. Three powers came forth from him. They are the Father, the Mother, and the Son. From the living silence, what came forth from the incorruptible Father? These came forth from the silence of the unknown Father. And from that place, Domadin Doxomodian came forth, the aeon of the aeons, and the light from each of their own powers. And thus the Son came forth, the Mother fifth, the Father sixth. He was but unheralded. It is he who is unmarked, all the powers, the glories, and incorruptions. From that place the three powers came forth, the three Ogdods, that the Father brings forth in the silence with his providence from his bosom, for example, the Father, the Mother, the Son. The first Ogdod, because of the thrice male child, came forth, which is the thought, and the word, and the incorruption, and the eternal life, and the will, and the mind, and the foreknowledge, the androgynous Father. The second Ogdod, power, the Mother, the virginal Barbelon, Epitenoch, a Memenian, who presides over the heaven, Karb, the unturbable power, the ineffable Mother. She originated from herself, she came forth, she agreed with the Father of the silent silence. The third Ogdod, the power of the Son of the silent silence, and the crown of the silent silence, and the glory of the Father, and the virtue of the Mother. He brings forth from the bosom of the seven powers of the great light of the seven voices, and the Word is their compilation. And these are the three powers, the three Ogdods, that the Father, through his providence, brought forth from his bosom. He brought them forth at that place. Domadon Doxomedion came forth, the aeon of the aeons, and the throne which is in him, and the power which surrounds him, the glories and the incorruptions. The Father of the great light who came forth from the silence, he is the great Doxomedian aeon, in which the thrice male child rests, and the throne of his glory was established, and in it, this is the one on which his unrevealable name is inscribed on the tablets. One is the Word, the Father of the light of the everything, he who came forth from the silence, while he rests in the silence, he who made, whose name is an invisible symbol, a hidden invisible mystery came forth. What we have here is a series of vowels: I, E, O, U, E, A, O. 7 vowels and 22 times each, it says. I guess we could count each one of these to find out. And in this way, the 3 powers gave praise to the great, invisible, unnameable, virginal, uncallable Spirit and his male virgin. They asked for a power. The silence of living silence came forth, naming glories and incorruptions, aeons, aeons, myriad added on. The 3 males, the 3 male offspring, the male races, filled the great doxomedian aeon with the power of the word of the whole pleroma. Then the thrice male child of the great Christ, whom the great invisible Spirit had anointed, he whose power was called anoint, gave praise to the great invisible Spirit and his male virgin Yoel, and the silence of the silent silence, and the greatness that something ineffable, unanswerable, and uninterpretable, the first who was to come forth, and who is unproclaimable, which is wonderful, ineffable. He who has all the greatness, of the silence of that place, the thrice male child, brought praise and asked for a power from the great invisible virginal Spirit. Then there appeared at this place something who sees glories, something in treasures, invisible mysteries of the silence, who is the male virgin Yosel. Then the child of the child Esaphet appeared, and thus he was completed, namely the Father, the Mother, the Son, the 5 seals, the unconquerable power, which is the Christ of all the incorruptible ones. We have a line missing here, and then it says something holy, something the end, the incorruptible, and they are the power of the glories and incorruptions they came forth. Got some more 5 lines: unrecoverable, followed by this one: brought praise to the unrevealable, hidden mystery, the hidden. And we have 4 lines: unrecoverable, followed by him, in the aeons, something thrones. In each one, myriads of powers without number surround them, glories and incorruptions, and they, of the Father and the Mother and the Son and the whole pleroma, which I mentioned before, and the 5 seals and the mysteries of the mysteries, they appeared. 3 lines: unrecoverable, followed by who presides over, and the aeons of, really, truly, and thus, and the really, truly, eternal aeons. Thus providence came forth from silence, in the living silence of the Spirit and the Word of the Father and the light. She, the 5 seals which the Father brought forth from his bosom, and she passed through the aeons which I mentioned before, and she established thrones of glory and myriads of angels without number, who surrounds them, power and incorruptible glories, who sing and give glory, all giving praise with a single voice, with one accord, with a never silent voice, to the Father and the Mother and the Son, and all the pleromas which I mentioned before. Who is the great Christ? Who is from silence? Who is the incorruptible child? Temel, Tamakel, Eli, Melchar, Seth, the power which really truly lives in the male virgin who is with him, Yosel, and Iphisak, the holder of the glory, the child of the child, the crown of his glory, of the 5 seals, the pleroma that I mentioned before. There is the great self-begotten Word, came forth, the true God, the unborn Physis, whose name I shall tell, saying, I Thaoth Os, who is the Son of the great Christ, who is the Son of the ineffable silence, who came forth from the great invisible and incorruptible Spirit, the Son of the silence, and silence appeared. One missing line: then invisible, man and the treasures of his glory. Then he appeared and he revealed, and he established the 4 aeons. With a word he established them. He brought praise to the great invisible virginal Spirit, the silence of the Father, and the silence of the living silence of silence, the place where the man rests. Got 2 lines missing, followed by, and then there came forth from that place the cloud of the great light, the living power, the mother of the holy incorruptible one, the great power, the Mithro, and she gave birth to him whose name I name, saying 3 times, Ain, Ain, A, Ain, Ain, A. Okay, I'm going to leave it right there. Somewhat cryptic, but also somewhat understandable, because It ties in with all of the other stories we've read from the Gnostic Gospels thus far at the Nag Hammadi Library. So I think the most important thing to understand about this and all of these other books that are part of the Gnostic Gospels is they tell a story that is different than the story that we have been told here on earth. For we're told that we're to follow the Bible and read the works of the Bible, but the stories in the Bible are incomplete stories edited together in a book by men who had political reasons, political agendas. So we could continue to follow exactly like the Bible says, word for word, and get caught up in the political agendas, or we can step back and we can look at the bigger picture and realize that there's something else going on there that we need to be aware of. See, the Bible, I believe, has a lot of great information in it. Obviously, over the years, people have discovered many things about the Bible with the numerology, the Bible code programs that are out there, the various passages that have taught so much information to people. But there's something that is missing as well. And when you have the book that we are all told is an important book, and that book is not set up telling us the actual truth or the same story that other texts relating to that should tell, there's a problem. When we have a book, the Bible, where the Old Testament is telling a story where the Creator God in that book is the same one who is also described as the devil, who is the one that is the fallen one, and we have been taught that this is the one, we got a problem, because it takes us away from truly understanding the Mother, the Father, the Son, because now we're looking at the fallen one, and we're taught that we need to be like that. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe because we're following along with the ideas of the fallen one, maybe that is why we're not fully able to rise to the place that we need to be. Jesus came simply to teach us one thing, to remind us of one thing, that we are divine beings. And as divine beings, we have the ability to connect into our divinity. All we have to do is have that desire to do so, and then make that effort. And once we do, we come to find out the truth of who and what we're really about. And it's a lot more than what we've been told. It's a lot more than what we allow ourselves to be. And certainly a lot more than what of the authorities, choose to inform us about. And while I'm on the word authorities, when you go through the Nag Hammadi Library and the Gnostic Gospels, the words that are used interchangeably are archons or authorities. So we go through the world saying the authorities tell us this, but that word authorities goes back and we see the relation to the archons, the one who's misled us. So every time we hear the authorities, it seems to be relating to the ones who misled us. Enough said there. We need to think for ourselves, and we need to be able to use our critical thinking to understand where this story fits in to the big picture. Question is, how much longer do we, as beings upon this earth, want to be lied to? Once we decide we don't want to be lied to anymore, we'll fix it. But the reason things are the way they are is there's still the majority of people who are still believing the lies. We just have to keep on going and keep spreading the truths. That's all. All right, here's an article, 9 Essential Symptoms of Spiritual Awakening by Christine Hoflich. Recently on the internet, I discovered a few lists of the signs of spiritual awakening, sometimes also referred to as symptoms of spiritual awakening. The lists I've come across so far are vague and unclear. For example, headaches, body aches, feelings as though you are on an emotional roller coaster for no reason, changes in energy levels, sleep patterns, jobs, and/or relationships, gaining or losing weight, even the itchy scalp, all apparently for no reason. So I decided to come up with my own list of what I understand to be the most essential and relevant signs and symptoms of spiritual awakening. The following list is 9 things I've experienced during this process of awakening. Synchronicities that are meaningful to you. I'm just going to read the list, and you can read all the little descriptions later. Intensely painful life changes. All-consuming inner contemplation followed by possible reassessment of beliefs. Receiving secret messages. Having the same thing, especially something that's unusual, happen to you. Waking up in the middle of the night feeling intense confusion. Favorable synchronicities that happen regularly. intense, vivid dreams, and finding yourself laughing more often. Remember, the fast track to spiritual awakening does not happen on how much fame or fortune you're born with or currently possess, or how much advanced degrees you have, but on how much you're willing or temporarily forgo your comfort zones for the notable purpose of personal and spiritual growth. This is important because it is your individual growth that is the utmost important at this crossroads in humanity's collective evolution. Remember also that the signs and the symptoms you experience aren't just signs or symptoms. They are designed to assist you in the spiritual awakening process. Okay, very good. We're all experiencing things. We're going through changes down here. I don't know how people aren't experiencing or noticing that, but hey, it happens. There's people who really kind of miss a lot of things, and this seems to be one of them. But more people are waking up. I notice it every day. I have conversations with friends every day that are noticing people waking it up, and I'm pretty certain in your life you're seeing the same things. So we just have to keep believing and remain hopeful and faithful to the process at hand and know that all will be well. We just have to keep on keeping on. All right, here's a message for today. This one comes from Archangel Michael.
Archangel Gabriel.
March 12, 2015. By Marlene Swetleshoff.
Archangel Gabriel.
Beloved ones, let us have discourse on the quality of love known as passion. Passion is the underlying force that fuels a person's strongest emotions. Passion is important, for one cannot inspire others if they are not self-inspired. When a person is fully passionate, they are filled with energy and excitement. Such a person is carried away in their experience, losing track of time and effort, and performing otherwise difficult tasks almost effortlessly. When one embodies the quality of passion, it is contagious and gains the attention of people around the person who is passionate about their work or interest. A person or a group can have a powerful impact globally when they work together with a passionate, energized and committed focus, and this can accomplish remarkable things. These individuals create a deep awareness of what is meaningful and what generates feelings of progress within themselves or their group activity and focus. They make sense of their experiences, so that they can learn from them and relate what they learn back to their world. They know that the life they are living now is a result of goals they set in the past. One's passion in life is not a passing interest or even a hobby, but something that is intensely meaningful and an absolutely essential core to their identity. Passionate people embody purpose and meaning in their life and their work, and quite often the two merge seamlessly into their life's experience. These individuals have found something they love to do so much that they can't wait for another day to start so that they can do it all over again. They believe they are here on earth for a reason and cherish their own unique blend of talents, wisdom, strengths, skills, and creativity. They understand that all people have something great to offer and that what makes each one unique is crucial to the sharing of their individual gifts with the world. They begin to know their place in the universe and discover how to maximize all of their potentials, and in the process, begin to live a happier and more meaningful life. When one learns how to tap into their rich reserves of energy, personal power, and passion, their life will flow in new and delightful ways. In anything that they do, they know there is always room for personal growth because their potential is limitless, and it is up to them to tap into it. Those who pursue a life of excellence with passion, know that the quality of their life is determined by the quality of their thoughts. They are aware that their capacity to create is infinite if they have the right determination and fully believe in their own power to achieve their highest visions. They surround themselves with positive earth-loving people whose attitudes, beliefs, accomplishments, and success inspire them and endeavor to spend more time with them. Passionate people also have no reluctance about finding a mentor who has already achieved what they themselves want to achieve. By cultivating these relationships, they feel that they can unlock their own potential and achieve so much more by emulating the other's success. These experiences of success have taught them to have a sense of self-belief, a sense that they can control their own future and their own destiny by utilizing these methods. They do not set impossible tasks for themselves but stay on track and focused on what they desire to accomplish each day. When one lives with passion, they are not afraid to try something new, or different, or big. A passionate individual knows that having the same daily routines can create stagnation in their life. They have learned that new experiences help them grow while making life more interesting. They become very invigorated with every new start as they follow their heart and pave their own path. They follow their own vision with passion and dedication and stay true to themselves while showing compassion, love, respect, and kindness to all the people around them. They go out into the world and meet new people in order to learn new things which open them up to new opportunities that are presented to them as a result. They live every day to the fullest, a life that is filled with joy, passion, and enthusiasm. As they live in alignment with their greatest passion, they find that they become more conscious and more alive, and experience life on a whole new level. They focus on the things they can act upon and set their mind, heart, and soul to it. They hold to the highest conduct of their own set of ethics, principles, and moral codes and live true to them every day. Those who are passionate and enthusiastic most certainly have an edge over those who are not. Passion and enthusiasm turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers because they have a vision so powerful that nothing can get in the way of making it a reality. Passionate people have the ability to work towards and be able to see past their current circumstances. Passion and enthusiasm turns the impossible into the possible and has the power and ability to change and influence the lives of others. Working every day to fulfill one's purpose is a key factor in igniting passion and enthusiasm in all areas of one's life and gives one the ability to create an exceptional future. By being clear and deeply passionate about their mission and purpose in life, they take better action to bring it into manifestation. Their willingness to work hard and persist in the face of challenges and obstacles are critical components to living a life of excellence. May you live your ideal life with passion, doing the things that you love which bring you great happiness and fulfillment. I am Archangel Gabriel.
All right, very nice message there from Archangel Gabriel. I know I said it was Michael at the beginning. I had Michael on the brain, but that was Gabriel, as you heard. All right, that brings us to the next passage in the Warrior of the Light, followed by our meditation. So this passage says, a warrior of the light who trusts too much in his intelligence will end up underestimating the power of his opponent. It is important not to forget that sometimes strength is more effective than strategy. A bullfight lasts 15 minutes. The bull quickly learns that it is being tricked, and its next step is to challenge the bullfighter. When this happens, no amount of brilliance, argument, intelligence, or charm can avert tragedy. That is why the warrior never underestimates brute force. When it proves too violent, he withdraws from the battlefield until his enemy has exhausted himself. All right, meditation time. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. Now, as you breathe in again, breathe in. Fill yourself with light. Bring that light all the way down from the top of the head, down through each one of the chakras, top of the head, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, belly button, bottom of the spine. Feel that energy. Feel it grounding you into the earth, connecting you to the cosmos. Feel the energy surging through your body. And as we go through the world today, all we need to do is feel the energy. To be aware of what is happening around us, to us, through us. And as we feel this energy, we allow our bodies to balance it so that we can move more effectively with, through, and in this energy. Think about how this energy makes you feel. Think about this energy cleansing out all of the things that are no longer necessary. Think of this energy changing and restructuring your being, going through each and every molecule. And as you connect with this energy, you realize that this happens all the time, and it's been happening from the time that you came onto this planet until the time you leave. And that in between, all moments are about dealing with this energy. So today, just be aware as you walk through the world of the energy that you have. And let that be enough. And in that awareness, know yourself even more. Know thyself. It is one important phrase that we need to understand. For as we know ourselves, we're able to help ourselves, help others. And in the long run, all of that makes the world a better place for each and every one of us. So let's just imagine going through the world today. Let's imagine all of our energies around us and our focus on understanding this energy. So let our subconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's our show for today. We're only a few days left for this winter time, and then we're moving into spring. So this is a good opportunity to do a house cleaning, a good opportunity to assess. That is why we're looking at our energy, because this energy is part of what we are, who we are. And as we go through, we understand the energy and how we're using it that's going to benefit us, and get rid of the things and the ways we use this energy that won't. It's that simple. Everything is energy. That's it for today, my friends. Have an awesome day. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day and all the festivities. Just have some fun. Life's about fun. We can't take it all serious, because if we do, we all know where that gets us. Nowhere. Just makes us crusty and hard and angry, and that's no fun. So have fun today. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll talk about some other things. In the meantime, I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.